Okay, so next I'm going to take you through the how to put everything on the mat before we cut it on the machine. So these are the templates I refer to. That's, you know, I cut, and all of this is written with the Cricut pen. And yeah, this really helps me just to see that I have, you know, the sizes are big enough. Like there you can see where it needs to cut it. And all the small little pieces, you know, everything is there. These templates, I added the engraving to the design later, so they're not showing on here, but they will engrave it when the machine cuts it and does its thing. So next we're going to put it on the mat. So there's a few things you would require. The first thing is that you would need some transfer tape, or in this case I use Easy Fix. You can get it on Takealot. You can even get it at Westpac for those that's in Gauteng. And yeah, it really works very well for me. It's a 10-meter roll, and I just use that. I stick it this side up on the mat, and then I put my leather on top of this instead of sticking it directly on the mat, because the leather, you know, it leaves some residue behind on the mat, which damages my mat. And it also helps to protect when it cuts it. If it does cut it through, it doesn't damage my own mat, so it helps with that little bit of extra protection. So that's quite important. And then what I also have here is the sprayer tool. I guess if you don't have it, you can use something else to smooth it, maybe a cake roller or something. But this works quite well for me, and that's to stick it on nicely. And I have a material scissor, and this is to cut the leather if I need to. And I also have a normal scissor. Now I never mix my scissor, the material that I use. I always cut my paper on a paper scissor and my material with a material scissor. I never combine the materials, because it damages my, it makes it, you know, it loses the sharpness. Right, so, and then obviously I also need the strong grip mats. I'm just going to take the small one I have at the moment. Now sometimes I just use offcuts when I do my wallets. Like these are some of the pieces that I have left over from another project, which I'm going to use for this wallet. It is part of a combo that I'm busy with for an order. So yeah, let's get the fun started. Right, so now I'm just going to take my transfer tape, and I'm just going to place it, make sure all of them are covered. So as you can see, this part here I just want to cut, so I don't have to cut another piece of transfer tape. I'm just going to trim it a little bit, just so it fits in, like here as well. I'm not going to use that section anyway, so that's what I use my material scissor for. Just trim it to get it in nicely, and I'm just going to cut the pieces. so now I'm gonna put it on my mat. So very important with the leather is that when you put it on the mat, it shouldn't exceed 29, because on the machine we have to take those little white scroller bars and drag them to the right. So if you're going to go over this 29, it's going to make like those marks on the leather. So I just make sure I put it before that, and I always try and start here at 1, because obviously the machine, when it cuts it, you can only start at 1. So I just have to make sure I space it in after that. So let's start and just see if this is going to fit in. Okay, so I can cut this a little bit because I don't need the whole section. I think I'll just separate, I'll print these and then take those off, and then, because they don't fit in perfectly. I do have a bigger mat as well. You can easily put it all on one big mat, but my big mat is not so sticky anymore. I need to wash it. It's a little bit worn. So let's get started. Now I'm going to put this on the mat, and I'm going to use my brayer tool just to stick it on nicely. First the transfer tape and then the leather. Obviously take this off. Okay, so now I take this film off that's on the top. Just make sure that the bottom still sticks to the mat before you pull it off. Otherwise, you're just going to pull off the adhesive. So now you put it on that transfer tape. Just check that you don't go over. Okay. And then I take the brayer tool and I go over it properly, making sure it's stuck. It shouldn't move around. I don't put on any masking tape or anything. I just stick it properly with the brayer. It never lifts unless my mat starts, the glue is not sticking so well anymore. Right, so this one is ready. We can now go and place it on the parts that we want to cut with the machine.